Hi, welcome back. I just wanted to come on and have a chat about why our dog or puppy only seems to listen when we have treats. Now, this is a question that I think many dog and puppy owners experience and have, and I believe that it also leads to that kind of hesitation early on in training to actually use treats whilst training our dog or puppy. I think that we may develop a bit of a fear that if we start kind of using treats to train our puppy, that will be forever stuck dishing out treats all the time, and this certainly isn't the case. This is a valid point to consider, and look, I'll be totally honest, I've seen many dogs who won't do anything unless they can see that treat in that person's hand. But I can say with confidence, with my own boy Frankie as proof, that just because you use treats during training, it doesn't always mean that our dog or puppy won't be able to work without them. Now, I consistently use treats early on in his life, certainly for the first 9 or 10 months before I started fading them out. But now I don't routinely when I'm out and about with Frankie. So how did I get this? And there are some things we need to remember whilst training that we can implement in order to avoid this over-reliance on treats. So number one is don't rely on candy treats. When it comes to kind of rewarding our dog or puppy, we have what I like to call candy treats and healthy treats. And then for me, candy treats are treats that aren't really that nutritionally healthy. They're often like your packaged training treats, such as your puppy rewards or your liver treats, those sort of treats. I find that those just aren't as wholesome for our dog or puppy. And it's not that I never train with them, I do, I just use them sparingly, and liver treats my dog does like, but he just doesn't get them all the time. Now, healthy treats for me are just kind of treats or food that I can use during training that just seem a bit more nutritionally packed. For instance, your Prime 100, quality kibbles, that sort of thing. Using kibble is great, and I don't necessarily believe in the whole nothing in life is free rule, but I do think it's a great idea to give your dog some food in their bowl and then use the rest for training. Specifically because I wouldn't work on an empty stomach, and so I don't expect my dog to either. But using the kibble can help reduce our dogs or puppies' overall reliance on treats during training, because they do get kibble at other times, not just during that training session. So it kind of takes away that candy hit. Number two, reward, don't bribe. It's very important when we're training our dog or puppy that we're not bribing. Rewards and bribes are similar, but they're not exactly the same. So how do we know whether we're bribing or rewarding our puppy during training? We can tell by when we start reaching for that treat. A bribe that appears before or during a training cue or command, for instance, if we say here and want to call our dog over, but we've already got the treat in our hand, then we're bribing our dog. Same with during. If our dog or puppy is still completing the action, then we're bribing them to some extent. If, however, we wait for them to complete the entire action and then reward, then we're rewarding them. For instance, we say here, our dog or puppy runs over, and then we reward them with a treat and a play once they've reached us. That's when we're rewarding them. Of course, if we're still teaching our dog or puppy something, such as teaching them to sit by luring over their head, then we're bribing them. But that's okay because they're learning. But once we're confident that they understand that cue or command, then we need to take a closer look at whether we are actually rewarding or bribing them. For instance, when we say sit and then we reach into our treat pouch and reward them, we don't want to already have the treat in our hand when we're trying to get our adult dog to sit. Again, if our puppy's learning, it's all right. But once our dog knows what to do, we want to make sure we haven't already got that treat out until our dog's done what we've asked. And number three, only reward effort. This is my most important point here today, I think. When we're training our dogs and puppies, there are varying degrees of effort which they put into following our cues and commands. And this kind of ranges from no effort to lots of effort. Now, many puppy owners tend to reward every single time their puppy does something. For instance, every time they say sit and their puppy sits. Again, this is okay in the learning stage while our puppy is learning new things. Absolutely, we should be rewarding every time they get the action somewhat correct to help them understand what we want. But once they do understand what we want them to do when we give them cues, then we need to be a bit more discerning. When we're proofing our training, so not when they're learning, but once they do know what to do and we want to make them better, then we need to look at the amount of energy that they're putting into the action. For instance, when we're proofing our training, I'll only reward my dog if I get that feeling that he put an effort for me. If I get that feeling that, yes, he tried hard, then absolutely he'll get marked with the word yes and I'll give him a treat. If I feel, however, that I don't think he put in that much effort, I just get that feeling, then I'll say, good, I'll give him a pat, but I won't go so far as to give him that extra treat. So it's a little thing, but when used consistently, helps my dogs understand that if they want me to put in effort and give them the high value treat, then they've got to put in a little bit of effort for me too. Of course, we can fade out treats altogether, and I have done this with my dogs, but it takes time. As I say, during the learning stage, I reward all the time to help establish my dog's understanding. Then once he knows what I want him to do, then I'll start to fade out the treats and only reward when he puts in effort. And then eventually, if we practice long enough, and I'm talking kind of a couple of months, then I'll start giving treats less and less. By this time though, our dog has been rewarded consistently enough that he's formed a habit, and so he no longer relies on those treats. So I hope that's helped and given you a couple of ideas about how to reduce or prevent that over-reliance on treats. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, it'll really help. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks, bye.